Thank you, Shari. It's wonderful to be with you. I'm sorry I can't be with CUFI today in person, but thrilled to take part in this virtual conference for such an important organization. As you know, CUFI and FDD have worked very closely together over the years, and we look forward to doing so again once the COVID-19 crisis has passed. One area where I think we will find common ground, areas that we'll need to work on, connects to a project that Iran has launched over the last couple of years. This is what we're calling their PGM project, or Precision Guided Munitions Project. As all of you know, Iran has been providing rockets to its proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah and Shiite militias. They've been doing this for years. And one of the things that has been fortunate from Israel's perspective is that these rockets are unguided. This means that they try to point the rockets in the general direction of their targets and hope with their fingers crossed that they'll land on something worthwhile. But the reality is that most of these rockets fall short of their intended targets, sometimes on the Gaza population itself. Sometimes it overshoots the targets and for example, Hamas fires into the Negev desert and they miss all of the civilian or military targets that they had in mind. Now, Iran is aware of this. Iran is eager to try to rectify this from their perspective. And it's for that reason that they have started to provide precision-guided munitions to their proxies. They're doing it with their proxies, the Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria, but probably most dangerously in Lebanon. Now, in some cases, they're able to provide the entire munition, or at least to train engineers to build these munitions. In other cases, they use the existing unguided rockets. They will cut off the top, drop in the necessary software and circuitry and wiring, which would include, by the way, a GPS system, and then solder it back up, put fins on the bottom of these rockets, and then connect them to a computer, which would be which would enable Iran or its proxies to guide the weapon toward a specific target. Now, this is of concern to Israel for a couple of reasons. One is that these rockets have the potential, it's not confirmed, but the potential to be able to evade Iron Dome and other missile defense systems, so that even if Israel fires an interceptor, they may not be able to destroy the ordnance midair. The other concern that we have is that they could try to overwhelm systems like Iron Dome. So, for example, if there are 20 interceptors in a given Iron Dome battery, and Hezbollah fires, let's say, 21 PGMs at a target, one will get through at minimum. This means, of course, that Hezbollah will be able to target things like the chemical plant in Haifa, or the nuclear facility in southern Israel in Dimona, or the Kiryat, which is the Pentagon of Israel. All of these things are of real concern to the Israelis. And the PGMs, just to be very clear, are able to land within 5 to 10 yards of their intended target. So this makes them very precise. And this is what Hezbollah in particular is building. The Israelis assess right now that Hezbollah is able to build roughly 1 or 2 a day. And this is obviously when you start to think about the fact that we're 9 to 12 weeks into this crisis, depending on how you count it, they've been busy. And so there is a question, I think, at this point as to whether Israel will be able to take out these targets. We know that they have talked about this with their American counterparts. And so there could be a conflict coming. Just also worth noting that a lot of the explosions that you see taking place in places like Syria and Iraq, this is Israel removing PGM parts that are traveling by way of Iran to Lebanon. And so this is part of that, what the Israelis call the campaign between wars, or the war between wars. They're doing everything that they can to try to prevent this PGM project from reaching fruition. Now, there is some good news to this, which is that, number one, the Trump administration is very aware of the problem, and they're working to coordinate with the Israelis. I think the Israelis have asked for a green light to be able to operate in whatever way they see fit And from everything that we're hearing, the Trump administration is eager to allow them to do this as long as it's done responsibly. The other thing, of course, is the ongoing maximum pressure campaign on Iran. If Iran is able to finance this project, it means that, that certainly we don't need to be giving them sanctions relief, and this is not lost on the Trump administration. That and the fact that the Israelis have one of the most advanced militaries in the region, I think is a sign that we will likely see this project neutralized. But this is something to watch. PGMs could be the thing that takes the Middle East to war this year, and we'll watch to see if we can prevent it. Over to you, Sherry. Thanks so much for having me on your program today.